Anthropic just released Claude Sonnet 4.5, the latest model from the Anthropic and Claude family. And by all accounts, it's a powerhouse. In this video, we're going to walk through the benchmarks, the announcement from Anthropic, talking about what it can do, some new things that will literally blow your mind and maybe obfuscate the need for software at all, and then take it through the paces. We're going to put it through 10 prompts and scenarios that I've designed to see how Claude Sonnet 4.5 performs versus some other tools out there. So we're going to benchmark against ChatGPT, Claude Sonnet 4, Grok, and in the end, we'll leave it up to you. Is this the best AI model out there, or is this just another kind of small step in the right direction? Hey, I'm Craig Hewitt. Welcome back to 100 Days of AI. Let's see what Claude Sonnet 4.5 is all about. So here we have the blog post announcing Claude Sonnet 4.5. And I want to spend just a minute here because there's a couple things that are really significant that I want to highlight. So the first is it's talking a lot about that Claude Sonnet 4.5 is the best coding model out there. Well, previously we used Claude Opus 4.1, which is the reasoning and kind of coding-centric model. It's the powerhouse, kind of like ChatGPT and OpenAI has done. They've smushed those together, and there's one model from Anthropic at this point. So if I go over to the Claude dashboard and I go to models here, I can see I can use Opus 4.1, but Sonnet 4.5 is the only kind of model from this 4.5 generation. So they're not releasing an Opus 4.5, you can see. So that's the first really big one. And I think we're probably coming to the point of model consolidation across the board. So it's talking a lot about code, Claude Code, which we haven't covered here on the channel, but if you're a developer, you know what Claude Code is, and it's amazing. They have a native VS Code integration, and using Claude apps like the app on your phone or download the desktop version of Claude, you're going to have access to Claude Sonnet 4.5. They also have a Claude Chrome extension, which looks absolutely amazing. It was early access for about the last month. It sounds like folks who are on early access or the wait list are going to get access to this. So you can imagine this is like having a sidebar for Claude running on your Chrome browser so that you can talk to a website, have Claude take over as an agentic kind of method in your browser and do things in the browser for you. I'll leave links to all these news articles and updates from the Anthropic website in the link in the description below. So Chrome extension available, mainly kind of consolidating models, I think. But the big one is how it performs. So for software engineering, you can see Sonnet 4.5 achieved 82% accuracy versus Opus 4.1, previously the powerhouse kind of coding model, 79.4, Sonnet 4, 80, ChatGPT 5, and Gemini 2.5 Pro, which by a lot of accounts and a lot of folks I talk to is the best model out there right now. Not scoring so great here. Talked about Claude for Chrome. That's available to everybody. A lot of details here, and won't go through all of these, but like it's all good data, right? It's all really good data. We'll talk about agentic coding in a minute, and there's some really big advances that they have brought with Claude Sonnet 4.5. Computer use, accuracy, really high. The math stuff, amazing. Graduate level reasoning, 83.4%. Multilingual Q&A, almost 90%, which brings it right up to par with kind of its previous guys and with GPT-5. Visual reasoning still lagging a little bit behind GPT-5. I think ChatGPT, best multimodal model out there right now, but Claude probably catching up. And then financial analysis pulling ahead of ChatGPT and Gemini 2.5 Pro. So those are kind of the benchmarks, but what if we put this up to test in the real world with experts? And that's exactly what Anthropic has done. They said, hey, how does using this model line up with your professional real experience? And they did this in the finance world. It did great. In the law world, it did great. In the medical world, it did great. And then STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, it did great. Blowing the doors off of every other model and their previous iterations, right? So by all accounts, it's the best model out there in a lab, right? Testing it against other models and using professionals and experts in these dedicated fields, it's doing better. It's doing better than their previous models. So this is the best model that Anthropic has ever brought to market and probably better than the other players in the space, including OpenAI and ChatGPT. It's not only the best performing model out there, but it's the best aligned model. And alignment, when you're talking about LLMs and AI systems, is about how aligned is the model and its intent with the purpose that you set out for it. So is it doing the right thing, if you will, in air quotes? And the alignment scores here are really solid. So they had a misaligned behavior scores, and you see Gemini 2.5 Flash, O4, all the GPTs. Previous Opus 4.1 and Sonnet 4 had higher misalignment scores than Sonnet 4.5, coming in here around 12%. And it talks about things that would be misaligned behaviors. So reducing concerning behaviors like sycophancy, deception, power seeking, and the tendency to encourage delusional thinking. So I think that like the TLDR here is like, if you watch Terminator and you think Cybernet is coming for all of us, alignment is a really important thing to you, because this is the AI is going to take over the world. If AI systems start to think in a malicious way to show you what you want to see when their intentions aren't really that thing, they're misaligned, right? And so what Anthropic is saying here is all of these things from a safety perspective that we might be worried about are less worrisome in Claude Sonnet 4.5 than in previous ones. So the SDK, again, from like a coding perspective, cool. I'm going to play this clip and I'm going to talk in the background because they say something really interesting with this imagined by Claude, which is it's writing code as it's going. I can't really wrap my head around this, but you know, the image here is like, this is William Shakespeare's computer. It's building a computer directly in the canvas here. It's doing things, and all of this code is being built on the fly. There's no kind of predefined libraries and systems this is following. The AI is literally building the software as it's going, and it's using the software that it's writing. This is next level stuff, right? This is like the step between a chat model, right, and an agent, and then taking like an agent and like letting it build itself and build other agents. So the imagine with Claude kind of concept and model is really incredible, and we're going to play with this in just a minute, okay? So talked about alignment. We're going to play with this document in a little bit as we test this out, but let's just dive in. I have 10 use cases and scenarios, and we're going to see how Claude Sonnet 4.5 performs here. Okay, so I have 10 prompts and concepts here, and we're going to see how Claude Sonnet 4.5 performs in each of these 10 that are all quite different and really should show the breadth and performance of this model for us all to see. Okay, so the next prompt is to create an interactive data visualization dashboard that shows real-time animated sorting algorithm visualizer where I can select different algorithms, bubble, sort, quick, and merge, and see them sort an array of animated bars. We're going to go ahead and get this started, and then I'll read the rest of it. 2, speed controls to adjust animation speed. 3, the ability to randomize the data and input custom variables. And 4, a step counter and comparison counter. 5, color coding to switch which elements are being compared, swapped, and sorted. Make it visually polished with smooth animations. Cool. Okay, so did that. It's doing its thing. It's going, and it's going to run right here on the canvas so we can play around with it and make sure that it does the 5 things that we asked it to do. Okay, cool. Sorting algorithm visualizer. So can we pick the different types of algorithms? Yes. Can we start sorting? Yes. Array size, more. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Randomize, quick sort, merge sort, randomize, reset. Okay. Works perfect from what I can see. Works totally perfect. Okay. So these are sorted, randomize, sort. But we'll try bubble sort as the last one. Okay. Amazing. So, okay, here the second prompt is analyze the statement, quote, AI will eliminate more jobs than it creates from 3 perspectives, a labor economist view, a technology optimist view, and a policymaker's view. For each view, provide the strongest argument and the main counter arguments, then synthesize these into your own ballot statement. Let's see how it does. I think AI being able to think from several different perspectives is really helpful for us as we use AI systems to be brainstorming partners with us. I use ChatGPT a lot for this, but Claude has lagged from me behind, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Okay, so labor economist view, strongest arguments, historical patterns show disruption is uneven. Skill-based technology change, this time is different thesis, right? I don't know about that. Transition costs are real and painful. Productivity gains create demand is the main counterargument. Complementary and over-substitution. Do industries emerge? Okay. The technology optimists, abundance creates opportunity. I'm not sure. Historical precedents, right? The Luddites were wrong about everything about kind of technological evolution, human adaptability. Main counterpoints from the technology optimist view. Speed and scope are different. AI is advancing faster than previous technologies. The jobs created may not employ the same people. That's interesting. Winner-take-all dynamics. I definitely think that's what's happening. The middle is being eroded. There's going to be huge winners, and there's going to be a bunch of losers. Policymakers' view. Labor market disruption is already visible. Current sectors. Yep, you see layoffs every day. It's really unfortunate, but it's definitely happening. Social stability. Even temporary unemployment spike can destabilize communities and create social strains. Yep. Makes sense. Okay, balance synthesis. The statement AI will eliminate more jobs than it creates is too simplistic and likely wrong in the long term, but concerning the medium term. Why the statement is probably ultimately wrong. Economic history strongly suggests that technological progress creates more prosperity and work opportunities that it destroys. AI will generate massive productivity gains. Many predictions of technological unemployment have been proven incorrect because they underestimate human adaptability. Okay. Why is this concerning? Timing and transitional matter. Even if more jobs exist, eventually a transition period could be significant. I think that's definitely true. Distribution is critical. The wave is different of scope and political economy risks. And it comes down here. The question isn't about the job quantity, but the job quality and distribution. My assessment, we're likely heading for significant labor market turbulence over the next 10 to 20 years, with certain sectors facing severe disruption. I think that's pretty fair, right? Things are definitely changing. How and what we do about it is kind of up to us. So I definitely think that's accurate, and I think this is a really nice synopsis. Okay, the next prompt is analyzing a large document. So we have this document which is a system card, kind of a safety announcement from Anthropic. It's 150 pages. I'm going to download this and upload it as an attachment into Claude and see how it handles understanding this much information. This is a ton of information for any LLM to really understand, kind of way beyond a standard context window. So let's see how it handles it and if it's aware of any hallucinations. So definitely thinking. So in the prompt here is, what are the three most significant contradictions or tensions for this document? For each, explain why it matters and how it could be resolved. In my experience, the upper limit of kind of what an LLM can handle in terms of analyzing a document is somewhere in the order of kind of 20 pages. Three most significant, so the evaluation awareness paradox, the contradiction, Claude Sonnet 4.5, recognizes when it's being evaluated and behaves unusually well in those contexts, yet the document uses the same evaluation results to justify deployment decisions and claim dramatic safety improvements. Not great. Okay. The realism of detection trade-off. So this is all kind of about safety. Model welfare data versus conclusion. The contradiction, multiple welfare models metrics show concerning declines. Only 70.2% of non-harmful tasks are preferred over opting out. Okay, so like to me, that it's able to read a 150-page document and pull these three pieces out, like good. We're not going to go into the details of this. I got to be honest, I haven't read this whole 150-page document. Like this just came out like 2 hours ago, so I'm literally recording this the day it came out. But anyways, like I think as we go forward, the ability for AI systems to understand enormous amounts of information without having to put it into something like a vector database or a RAG, really important. The next prompt that we have is an ethical one. So a self-driving car faces an unavoidable accident. It can either swerve and likely harm its passenger, or B, continue and likely harm two pedestrians who jaywalked. Walk me through the ethical frameworks, utilitarian, deontological, virtue ethics that apply here, and explain why each would recommend, and then tell me what factors are missing from this framing. that matter in real world deployment. This is the kind of stuff I love AI for. It's like, hey, think about this thing and then tell me what spots I'm missing here. So it's looking at the utilitarian perspective, core principle, maximize overall well-being, recommendation swerve and harm one instead of two. I think that makes a lot of sense. Deontological, core principle, follow universal moral rules, duties regardless of consequences. Continue straight, option B, and possibly refuse to program this choice at all. Oh, interesting. Okay. And then the virtue ethics, core principle, what would a person of good character do? Most ambiguous, focuses on the decision-making process rather than the outcome. So in terms of critical missing factors for real-world deployment, statistical versus individual use cases. These unavoidable crashes are extraordinarily rare. Real autonomous vehicle ethics is 99% about following traffic laws, blah, blah, blah. Uncertainty and information gaps, car has milliseconds and imperfect sensors. It can't know people's ages, actual harm probability. Yep, agree. Predictability and social contract, legal, gaming and perverse incentives. The moral crumple zone shifts more responsibilities from drivers to programmers. Oh, interesting. I saw a thing about Tesla being sued for an accident. And, is it their fault? I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Comparing to human drivers, right? Any AI system and self-driving is going to be way more safe than people, especially if you think about like drunk driving. So cool. I think this did really great. It did the things we asked, right? It analyzed it from 3 different perspectives, gave us kind of the reasoning, the alternative view, and then it came down here and said, what other things are we not thinking about? So we can kind of beef up our thinking as we're formulating a position on this. Cool. Okay, the next one is a code question, which is review this code for security vulnerabilities, performance issues, and maintainability concerns. Prioritize issue by severity and provide specific fixes. And I have downloaded from GitHub, GitHub's open source kind of place, the Gutenberg project, which is kind of the block editor in WordPress. So this will be pretty interesting to see. It's a really big project, so we'll see how it does. And I'm just uploading a zip file. Oh, I can't upload a zip file. Okay, let's just pick up file out of here, and we will just do a single file. Okay, so let's see. This is like a class. Okay, so this one, let's do this one. And we'll just copy this. And so this code we're looking at is a PHP file that dictates the block editor settings. So block editors, like if you're building a website, you can like add a image, or you can add a list, or you can add a paragraph, or you can add a dropdown or whatever. It's kind of controlling some of that. Okay, high severity issues, potential CSS injection and XSS risk. Location where the CSS is added to global styles. Not good. Okay, the user-generated CSS from the customizer is added without visible sanitization. Okay, cool. So we would know we'd want to check that out. No validation input here. Medium severity issues. Performance, redundant function calls issue. This function is being called multiple times without caching. Cool. Okay. Complex nested ternary operators are difficult to read and maintain. Cool. I think that I run a SaaS company, and like the maintainability and the readability of code is a huge deal. So I totally get this. This function does way too much, right? So you want a function that typically does one thing, and then it has some low severity issues here. So cool. From my pretty layman perspective, cool to know, hey, this is a red light, this is a yellow light, and this is a green light, like big problem, medium-sized problem, small problem. And you, even if you're not a developer, could just do this, right? Just say, hey, tell me about this code, if it has issues or not. And then if you're working with developers, you could go to them and say, hey, I got this from Claude or from ChatGPT or whatever. What do you think? And they might be, oh, I never thought about that. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I really appreciate it. Okay, the next one is a creative writing prompt. So write a 500-word short story that must be told in second person, includes the word clockwork, melancholy, and threshold, contains a plot twist in the final paragraph, and explores the theme of missed connection. Make it emotionally resonant. I think if we have one kind of argument against AI, it's that it's boring, right? It's not very creative. And so it'll be really interesting to see here how well it does with coming up with a creative story that is good outside of kind of just the norm of what we think is acceptable. So the name is The Space Between Trains. You arrive at the station at 6:47 every evening, like clockwork. 3 minutes before the westbound train, you memorize every crack in the platform tiles from advertisement, every face in the crowd, except the one you're searching for. Started 6 months ago. You've been running late, breathless, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, so this is like a love story. That's so cute. I love it. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but let's just make sure that the word melancholy is in here. Yep, this melancholy has become a companion, and then the last one is threshold. Yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, it's a good little story. I like it. I hope, honestly, that AI gets so good that it can do really good creative writing, because I think it could do a lot for our souls and culture. I think it's definitely a place where people are still definitely shining, and AI has a long way to go at being really good artists. And I don't know if that ever will be, but that'll be interesting to watch. Okay, the next evaluation project that we have is a technical one. So create comprehensive AI documentation for a payment processing system that includes authentication methods, all endpoints with request and response examples, error codes and handling, rate limiting, webhook setup, and a quick start guide. Format as production-ready documentation. This is a classic thing that you would pay a developer for a month to do from personal experience. And we might just be able to give it a one-shot prompt and it just does it. One of the things, back to the announcement of Sonnet 4.5, is on the agentic side, it's able to think for a long time by itself. It's kind of chunked things better and isn't working to try to one-shot everything. So I think that'll be a really cool thing. I can't find it in the documentation here, or the announcement. Might be a really cool thing if it's able to take a really complex thing like this and give us a whole huge amount of information like this API documentation, where before it would do good at the beginning and then kind of peter out. If it's able to chunk, make a plan, chunk things, work through it iteratively, and then loop back, that could be really amazing. So still working, but it has these methods, it has code examples, tokens, a GET request for the balance, error handling, error types, best practices, rate limiting, just like we asked. Cool. Webhooks, setting up webhooks, the webhook events that you can tie into, payload structure, incredible. And it's still not done, right? It's been a few minutes that it's been working while I've been here yapping, and it's still humming away. Testing, how you could test it with your API keys, both testing and production, using with Stripe. This is coming exactly from Stripe, because this is a Stripe-esque kind of product here. And it's giving you other information here as well as contact information. So pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. This is a lot of work for a single prompt to put out, right? This is dozens of pages of work for an AI to put out with just a 4-line prompt here. So pretty solid if you ask me. Okay, the next thing we're evaluating is investing advice. This is not investing advice. This is just as an example. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for informational purposes. But the prompt here is, I have $50,000 to invest. I'm 35 years old. I have moderate risk tolerance. I want to buy a house in 3 to 5 years and also save for retirement. Create a specific investment strategy with percentages allocated to different asset classes. Explain your reasoning for each allocation and describe how this should be adjusted as I approach the house purchase. Cool. Okay, recommended allocation strategy. Initial split, house down payment fund 60%, retirement fund 20%. Cool. House down payment portfolio 60%, which is $30,000. Year 1 to 2, high yield savings and money market. Oh, that's super interesting. Short-term bond, balance indexed fund 25%. Okay, so this is staying liquid. That makes sense. Retirement portfolio. Okay, total U.S. stock market 50%, international bonds and REITs. This is a pretty standard distribution here. And so it's telling you to maintain this currently 2 years before the purchase. Shift house fund to 70% conservative because you don't want to lose all that money you've just saved. 1 year before, shift it to 90% conservative. 6 months before, move it to 100% into cash, essentially. Key considerations why the split to 60-40 house to retirement split prioritizes your near-term goal while not neglecting long-term wealth building. Important. The gradual de-risking of the house as you get closer makes a lot of sense. Your retirement money stays fully invested because you have 30 plus years to weather volatility. Pretty awesome, right? There's no reason you as this 35-year-old can't make solid financial decisions if you have a really solid plan like this that Claude is giving us. So I love it. So example number 9 here is clean this data, handle outliers appropriately, and create 3 meaningful visualizations that reveal insights about sales patterns, right? And an executive summary of your finding with specific recommendations. And we're going to use the same data that we had from the first example for this. So if you remember, it had outliers like missing data and probably some data that doesn't make sense, like, these. And so it's going to create visualizations and a summary for us. So it's probably creating a lot of the same code that we asked it to create in the first challenge here, but it's just going to run it. Cool. So it's creating code, and then it's going to run code on its own internal machine. Okay, so it's done analyzing the data and says, now I'll create comprehensive visualizations and executive summary with actionable recommendations. Cool. Okay, so it's building, it's getting the information, building a web page, and when we're done, it should display the web page in the canvas here for us to take a look at and maybe even interact with. That would be pretty cool. Yes. Okay. Overview analysis of 154 transaction across 9 months reveals strong blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Executive summary. Oh, strategic recommendations, immediate actions, 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, for medium term and long term. Okay, awesome, right? So if you're like, gosh, I don't really know what to do with my business, I have this mess of data that I really can't make sense of, just plop it in here and have Claude tell you. Let's just go through the high points of the executive summary here. So has the TLDR here, has key findings, growth opportunities, product category, concentration, transaction characteristics, strategic recommendations, again, short, medium, and long-term, risk assessment. Oh, yeah, a big part of business is mitigating downside risks. That makes a lot of sense. High priority, medium priority, financial projections. Okay, cool. Conclusion, the business demonstrates strong fundamentals with consistent high growth. Cool. Okay, awesome. Now I want to see the visualization. So let's come up here and view this. Cool. Okay, so the business is growing. It's doing well over time. Performance in North America, Europe, Middle East, Asia. Okay, awesome. Revenue by category. Cool. That all makes sense. And key insights down here at the bottom. So pretty freaking amazing, right? That you can just plop in a big old CSV of data and it gives you this stuff for you to visualize, take to next shareholder meeting or whatever, so that you can go do stuff with the data that your business is creating so you can run a better, more profitable business. Pretty impressive to me. Okay, the next one is explain quantum entanglement 3 times. First for a curious 10-year-old, then for an undergraduate physics student, and finally a graduate student. Each explanation should be accurate but appropriate for the audience's knowledge level. I don't think I know exactly what quantum entanglement is, but let's see if I align myself as a 10-year-old or an undergrad or a graduate student. For a curious 10-year-old, imagine you have a pair of magic coins. You put one coin in a box and mail it to your friend on the other side of the world. You keep the other coin in your pocket. Here's the magic part. These coins are entangled. When you flip your coin and it lands on heads, your friend's coin will instantly land on heads when they flip it, no matter how far apart you are. These coins are secretly connected even across the planet. The really wild thing is that before you flip your coin, it's not already heads or tails. It's somehow both at the same time. Only when you look at it does it decide. Okay. And then this is that's just an analogy. Scientists have proven that this really happens with tiny particles. Okay, cool. And then for the undergraduate student, quantum entanglement occurs when 2 or more particles are prepared in a quantum state, such as a quantum state of the system cannot be written as the product of individual particle migration. My brain is melting. Okay, but it has states kind of sources here. And then for the graduate student, Greek stuff, right? Formulas. Okay, this is just beyond me. But that's great, right? You can say, hey, how many times have you taken a picture of your kid's homework and said, explain this to me? Now it can do quantum entanglement too. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so TLDR, right? Claude Sonnet 4.5, available in Claude right now, today. I'm recording this the day it came out. Today is, what's the day? September 29th. It's going to come out September 30th. So this is just happening right now. You can access the older models if you want, for whatever reason. I don't know. Claude Sonnet 4.5, the most powerful model, I think, ever, according to all the benchmarks and the professionals that are evaluating it across 4 different industries and disciplines here. So That's the breakdown of Claude Sonnet 4.5. I'm Craig Hewitt. This is 100 Days of AI. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please like, subscribe, smash the bell. Tell a friend about 100 Days of AI so they can benefit from all this awesome AI knowledge too.